Hi, my name's Maeve Kelly. This is my blog post, and today's theme is belonging. More importantly, that we all have our own internal belonging, which we could also call our Indigenous being. The sense of belonging which we yearn for, which is alive within everybody, is something that we find difficult to maintain for any length of time. It's a feeling that creates yearning, it creates behavioral patterns, it often creates challenges and difficulties in our lives, and it's something that we always return to. Even for those who are born and live in the place where they were born for any number of years, who have a strong community, even deep within them, there can often be a sense of loss of place. And although they surround themselves and feel very comfortable in certain moments, and feel that their community and their family hold space for them, there is this feeling that we all walk with, no matter how we try to fill those spaces within ourselves, that we have left something behind, because we've arrived into this lifetime with a specific contract. We are encountering our soul family. We are walking a path of learning and growth and evolution, and so we're constantly searching and seeking, and that's a part of the process, is this need for direction, and that driving force comes from the sense of loss of place. That loss becomes our driving force, so it perpetuates our journey, and it teaches us how to seek. The difficulty which arises is that as we forget who we are, we also forget that we have a compass for this path, and we forget that it can literally answer any one of our questions and can guide us on the path homewards if we choose to listen to it and to dial into it and to navigate from its constant vibrational presence. And so really, in terms of coming home to ourselves, to our belonging, the compass which we're born with is the only tool we require, and that is our heart. The reason why we have lost track of our compass is because we've lost track of our Indigenous nature, our Indigenous sense of being, our right to claim our bodies and our right to exist in this journey and anchor into Mother Earth. We've lost this because we have created a culture of disconnection so that we can experience and see our trauma and heal it and move through it and evolve. But in doing so, we have also lost our deep, reverent connection with our bodies, with our hearts, and with Mother Earth. And which in turn means that we've lost our connection with the elements, the stars, the sky, and every natural thing which brings us wisdom and guidance and truth. Now, obviously, this is a vast general statement which in its own right holds a lot of untruth, because so many of us are reclaiming our Indigenous being. But in order to talk about it, there's a need to make sweeping statements in order to give an idea of where I'm coming from and where I'm going to with the navigation of this really difficult territory which we have found ourselves in. I think a lot of the difficulty with returning to ourselves and our Indigenous being is that there's a sense, even within those who are searching for that within themselves, that there are certain people, or there's a hierarchy on this planet of people who have more of a right to inhabit themselves, inhabit their sacred Indigenous selves. And that in order for us to inhabit ourselves in that way, we can only take our resources from their book, as it were, or from their way of being or way of living. And although that can be really fruitful for many to, visit Indigenous cultures, to deeply connect in with their ancestral culture and their lineage and the Indigenous mahi or way of living that they can resource from, and that can be an incredibly beautiful tool of embodiment and connection. However, this can also lead to many people feeling that if they are not so connected to a resource like this, that they don't necessarily have a right to embody themselves in that way and to find their own Indigenous, organic, sacred medicine. The truth is that every single one of us carries the same medicine in our heart. Every single one of us. And every single person who's walked this planet carries the same Indigenous medicine. It's accessible to all at all times. So this journey is simply about aligning with ourselves. And whatever method you use should come from your compass, from your heart. So the most Indigenous people are the ones who trust fully in their own process. And that's where that idea or culture initially came from, was those who felt deeply, those who listened with intention and intensity, those who opened up their hearts to the truth of what was within them and around them, those who sought connection, and those who chose to trust so deeply in those connections that they created or co-created a culture which they shared with others, which enabled them to navigate together as a community, as a tribe. And so this is our story now. It's a very different story to, the stories that existed hundreds and thousands of years ago. It's a very different existence. We have a whole new set of challenges which didn't exist even 100 years ago or even 50 years ago. And so our Indigenous being has its own template, a very unique template. We've been born with our wisdom ingrained within us, with our attunement to everything that we're going to encounter. So in order that we can learn more about ourselves and return home to ourselves. And so we have everything that we need already residing within us. We just need to unlock these doors that we've created. And these doors we've created through the idea that we are maintaining safety within ourselves. That there are pathways that we don't understand, that if we open this door, somehow we're endangered, that we must keep walls up to protect ourselves from a difficult world. And we must learn ways that are proven, and we must find a framework, and we must adhere to these frameworks in order to succeed, to grow, and to become. But in truth, what we're doing is we're creating more masks, we're creating more castles, we're creating more fortresses, we're dividing and dividing and dividing. We're separating ourselves over and over again. To be the Indigenous self is simply to be authentic. To be the sacred Indigenous self is to simply reside within the self in every single expression of the self as it is. And that includes all your vulnerability. That includes all of your fears and all of your anger and all of your pain and all of your hatred and all of your memories and all of your hopes and all of your dreams and all of your joy and all of your beauty and all of your connections and all of your family and your friends. It includes everything. And so the Indigenous being resides within themselves with truth and trust and compassion, and allows themselves to be who they are. And from that place, a flower grows. From that place of truth and trust and openness, everything grows. But in order to do this, we have to meet with ourselves, because we have to meet with the aspects of ourselves which are we're hiding. We're hiding from the world because we believe they're ugly or unsafe or impure, that we are judging them, so we assume that others will judge us. We are judging others, so we're in judgment, we're judging ourselves. We've forgotten how to love ourselves. We've forgotten how to trust and to plant ourselves into Mother Earth and feel her vibrancy and her chaos and her energy and her force and her unapologetic presence. And that's how we learn to be the fullness of ourselves, is by feeling the depth and the beauty of her and trusting in her grace, in her ever presence. And she teaches us how to be who we are. So this is the first installment of many, and there are techniques which can help to align with the self, which can help to align with Mother Earth, and I'll be following up with some of these techniques and some more blog posts, but for today, sending you all love and truth, and hoping this finds you with an open heart and an opportunity to set an intention to begin to grow your roots into Mother Earth.